What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to the Olive Drift channel. Today I'm going to be making a front nudge bar, basically a front intrusion bar for my rx7. So I've got to make it fit inside the bumper bar. Got to basically go like here in between the lights. Oops. So I'll show you on this one. This is going to be, I've been doing some fiberglassing and stuff as well, repairing this thing because it had some cracks in it, but some other chips, big chips in the front. So I patched all that up. I'm going to make the nudge bar run between the indicator hazard and this vent in the front where the oil cooler is, and I'll go all the way through just there, and I'll kind of use it to make some brackets off it to hold the bumper up underneath the front lip under here. So got to bend that up, which is kind of interesting. It's the first time I use my bender, but this is only it's not a Race Tech roll cage steel, it's just normal steel tube. In the metal shop, I also did some repairs on the MX-5 bumper. This thing has had a very hard life. A lot of fiberglassing. So, to make it stay together, because it's hard to get this bumper. I think there's only like one place in Australia that makes it now. So it's a bit irritating. But, so I've got to try and get the maximum life out of it. A few repair kits according to that one. It's probably like the 8th time that I've done some fairly extensive fiberglass repairs on it. But yeah, so nudge bar. Basically, nudge bar, when you're setting it out, it's going to have like 4 bends in it, yeah? So there'll be like a straight section in the middle here, and then there'll be a bend here, and then there'll be another bend over here. So 1 bend, 2 bend, where it comes around. So basically, you measure out from the center to your first bend, and then do a bit of radius, then another straight section, then your second bend, and then chop off the excess. So that's what I would do anyway. So I just basically roughly measure, sort of the length. Just chuck the tape measure in there, roughly around there, just to get a length, because you're going to cut it shorter anyway. It's like 2 meters to like there and there, so 2 meters. Because you don't want the tube to finish here near your wheel. You want to finish it back here somewhere, because if you have a slight nudge in the front and bend that tube in, just a slight accident, then it's actually going to bend in closer towards your front wheel, and then your front wheel will bind on it at lock when you're transitioning. If you have it too close to your front wheel, if you have it like all the way over here, which I did once. I made it like go all the way to the edge because I thought it was like nice and neat and tight. Gee. Anyway, stay tuned. We'll get this marked up and bent up. We'll get back to it. So here's me nudge bar. I've already bent one end, but I'll show you. That's the center line. So when I set out the tube, you mark the center of your tube and then do your measurements, and then bend comes after each measurement. So I've measured out from my center line to my first bend, and then from that center line to the next, or not center line, but the next start point, that's the start of the next bend. So you can see, it makes sense, you can see the start line with the bend there, and then the bend is after it, start line to the bend there, and the bend is after it. So all you do is you set up the start line of the bend on the straight thingy, and basically pull it around until you want it to stop. Because it's just a nudge bar, I don't have to worry about it too much being super accurate. And make sure you keep it on the same plane. Put a level. Rotate to 0 bubble. switch. Just slide it through to your next. Start line. Something like this. It's for a nudge bar. See if I can show you. Sorry, it's a bit dark in here. But something. Get the idea? Whammy. It's in there. Actually, not too bad first go. It's a bit sloppy. I could have moved these points even further in. The start point's my first two bends, so I could have started at like 600. I went 700, so 350 out from the center. Could have gone 600. But they're fairly disposable, these nudge bars. Like, you have one little nudge and they're pretty much kinked, and after that they're like 50% weaker than they were. So you pretty much just throw it away. That's why I've started making them out of just like normal steel tube rather than the Race Tech tube, which is kind of expensive. So anyway, yeah, I've got to mount this thing on the front of the car. I've already got these plates on the end of my chassis rails, so I'm going to weld a tube off there onto the bar, and then that'll go on there, and then I'm going to make a couple of mounts off the actual bar to hold the bumper on. That's why I need to make this thing at this very moment in time, because I want to get the front bar mounted on the car so it can be wrapped. So I need to get it mounted so that it can be all stretched to vinyl on and stuff. Okay, so I want this nudge bar to fit both the bars I got. In case I smash the front bar, I just want to be able to just grab the next front bumper and put it on. So this will fit both. Anyway, stay tuned. We'll mount some things. Alrighty, so the hardest part about making a front nudge bar or intrusion bar is probably getting it to sit where you want it to sit as far as you can, so you've got as big a crumple zone as you can behind your bumper. So you need to put your bumper on where it kind of goes, but loosely. So I've got it sitting on the gearbox stand, and then so you can actually sit the bar up inside there. You can see I've got it sitting on blocks of wood up to jack it up exactly where I want it, because it's sitting under those front indicator mouldings, and it needs to go in that space between there and there, obviously. So it runs through here and goes around the side there. So it's kind of, it's not gonna, the front bar won't be sitting on there, because I don't think these front indicator holes are gonna be in exactly the same spot on all the different bumpers. Like the one I've got over there, it's like a vertex copy, and I've got a veal side on the roof, but they all have this same front indicator hole, but I don't think they're in the exact same plane, so to speak. So I'm gonna make it with a little bit of tolerance so that hopefully each bumper fits, and so I think that they will be located relatively similarly to the headlight distance down. So basically, chuck your bumper on, sit your bar on there with your plates mounted on where you're going to weld it to, obviously, and then basically just fit up a tube in between that tube and this tube, the whole plate, sorry, tube and the plate. So you got to cut a piece. You got to try and get a level up in there as well if you want, and try and make sure it's all sitting nice and straight, so that if you do happen to smash your bumper completely and you need to drive without your bumper on, you don't want your nudge bar looking like a mangled piece of crooked stuff. I mean, if you've had a crash, fair enough, but if it's not sitting straight the day after you made it, then not great, is it? So, alright, check these bad boys out. Got some tyres fitted up on the fronts, chuck them on. Advan RG1s, sort of sexy. And I've chucked on, what do we get, 235 40 17s on the front. So a pretty square set, little bit of stretch on the edge, on the tie wall. So it should be giving me a fair bit extra grip on the front, because I'm going to run a lot of grip on the back. I got some 255 40 17s and a 140 compound Zestino Greg 07 RS. Zestinos on the front as well. So I'm going to give those a try. I've never used them before, but we'll see what happens. Also still made up tubes to hold the nudge bar, just notched, bit of an angle on that end and a notch on that end to go in the tube. Where is it? It's up in there. I've got one sitting up in there. There you go. Oh, you can see what's going on. See? So it's got it sitting up in there, just about to tack it in. Then I'll be able to tuck both sides in, and I'll be able to take the front bar off and finish welding it. So I'm going to make some little tabs off it to bolt the front bar to up here into the guard. I'll show you what I've got. I've got an idea. But I've got these things, which are they're like little push button clip-on thingies. What do you call? I don't know. Same as the bottom pins. So you just, you've got like little ball bearings in there. When you push the button, releases the ball bearings and lets the thingy pop out. So I was just going to weld those. Weld these bits onto the tube there, like that. Drill a hole through the bar and put the pretty fancy, what do you call that? I don't know. Rainbow anodized thingies. Anyway, tuck these on, see what happens. Alright, I get that tucked on. Very badly. Couldn't really get the torch in there where I wanted to, but that's how it's going to be, roughly. Just got to finish welding it now. Yeah. Alrighty. I gave it a coat of paint and I welded on a toe point. So I'm going to have one of those straps like Kat has on her Seal 80 for towing with, because you're supposed to have a 50mm hole for the tow people to hook their thing into. I didn't want to have a big ugly steel tow hook out the front of my car, so I mount that on there so it'll hang loose underneath in the mouth. What else did I do? I put on, if you can see these, roots of square tube with the bolt inside of it, so I can put some 10mm aluminium rod in there. It'll come up and bend it at 90 degrees at the top, and that'll hold the lip of the front bumper up so that the bonnet gap here is nice on each side, because they tend to, all the fiberglass bonnets tend to sag down. So that's how I'm going to battle that, an adjustable height. So I'll be able to make some bits of rod, and because I've got 3 different front bumpers, so I think they're all a bit different levels of sagginess. So I wanted to have that adjustable, and I welded tabs on for the clippy things. So the bumper just clips on now, and basically it sits on the front. Most of the weight of it sits on the actual surface of the bar where the lights are. But yeah, that's that. Thanks for watching, and I'm gonna work on the shifter boot next, because I don't have one. So I've got this big hole. Whoa. There. Gimbal lost control. Got this big hole here, and I gotta fill this up. I got a leather boot thing, so I'm just gonna make some sort of metal ring around the bottom of that, some sort of cover thing. Make that go on there and cover the hole. Yeah, I also have mounted up my side skirts as well. Bolted them to the side of the car with some rib nuts. So they're all sweet. Nice and tight. I got a couple of metal straps underneath, aluminium straps going along the car. Yeah, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.